right, it is Oktoberfest. It's that time of year again. We've had some epic Oktoberfest celebrations up to now. So we had to get creative with this because me being in Canada, I'm a little bit limited on the Oktoberfest beers I can get. I've been complaining about this, man, for years. For 4 years.
You have.
I've been complaining about Canada's lack of imports when it comes to delicious Oktoberfest beers, and you just have this plethora of amazing beers. You know, we've reviewed the Hofbräu Oktoberfest, and I featured the Paul Anner Oktoberfest on a Beer Explorer episode. So we can only review a beer if the both of us can get it, but we thought, you know what? We can't ignore these delicious Oktoberfest beers, so what we're doing today, we're doing a classic Beer Brackets double review. We don't know what beers each other are reviewing. This is going to be a total surprise. So I found a local Oktoberfest beer that I'm going to be reviewing today, and Alessandro found one that he's going to be reviewing today. So, buddy, I'm going to let you start. It almost feels like a Beer Explorer episode, like I'm letting you open your beer brackets, but no, it's not. This isn't an official opening closing of a beer brackets. It is a review,
Right?
but what's the beer you're reviewing today?
You know, here in the U.S., especially here in Florida where I am, there's so many to pick
Yeah.
from. And I was
Got so many, man.
really thinking about one in particular, but then I saw this one
Yeah.
and I said, no, I gotta get it. It has to be this one. It's time for it.
That's what you told me before. You use that term. It is time.
It is time.
Cue that. What is it from Jurassic Park? Cue that meme of the voice. It is time.
It is time.
Oh, it's from The Lion King.
It is time. Yeah, you're right.
It's time. It's time, Simba.
It is time.
The Sam Adams Octoberfest.
Oh, yes. Okay. Especially because we just recently reviewed the Sam Adams Boston Lager. That's amazing, dude. Such a good choice. Such a good choice.
Thank you, my friend. We'll get into why I picked it and all the fun details in the review. But before we do that, I am dying to hear what you have picked.
I'm so jealous because actually I've told you the story before. I tried the Sam Adams Oktoberfest before I even tried the Sam Adams Boston Lager. I was down on a trip in Vermont and I was in college with some friends, and we went to this local liquor store to get a keg because we were 10 guys at this cottage for a weekend in the middle of nowhere. And I remember they only had 2 beers on keg. One of them was Sam Adams Oktoberfest because it was that time of year. And the second one was just one that we completely wrote off. Might have been Budweiser or something. But so we went to Sam Adams, and it was amazing. I remember loving it. So I tried that before even the regular Boston, but I haven't had it since. That was maybe 2010. So
See,
God,
there
like
you
14
go.
years ago. And I'm so happy that I finally get to feature this brewery on the channel, by the way, because I think I might have spoken about them on the channel, but never officially presented a beer from this brewery or reviewed a beer from this brewery. So this is really exciting. And I've talked to you about them a million times. They are currently my favorite craft brewery in the city of Montreal that I live in, called Silo. And they brewed a seasonal beer, a Marzen
Haha.
Oktoberfest beer. And you see it's got like the traditional sort of like Oktoberfest
Nice.
sort of
I love
straight
it.
flags on there.
Yeah.
Really excited about this because this brewery is absolutely fantastic. I've been talking your ear off about their lager that I really love. And they're in this like little strip mall in this old industrial area in Montreal, and they started doing Czech and German inspired beers, mostly Czech. They had the Lukr Taps back before they were super kind of popular. And so they had the pour menu where you could choose how you wanted your Pilsner or your lager poured out. If you wanted
wonderful.
mostly foam, you could choose the foam level on your beer, which I thought was really cool. Fantastic brewery. So I've just been addicted to their stuff. It's kind of really pricey in Montreal, which is a little bit of a hindrance. Like one of these cans is like $6 Canadian, which is
Wow.
expensive. So it's a treat. It's a beer treat. You don't drink a lot of them. You know, it's kind of like if I'm having a one-off on a Friday night, I want to treat myself, I'll have one of these. I think of it like buying a pint in a bar. You know,
It's a good way to see it, my friend. Well, that
Yeah.
means only one thing. It means like we're going to have a great evening and we are going to celebrate Oktoberfest together.
No, exactly, man. That's why I was like, you know what? This is the perfect beer because I love their beer so much, because I've never tried this one. Perfect way. I can't wait to hear about. Have you had the Oktoberfest before?
Yes,
Sam
yes,
Adams?
I've had it before. Yes.
Okay, cool. So you know what to expect, but I'm excited to hear your opinion of it nonetheless and see what score you give it. This is so exciting. It's
gonna be
gonna be
interesting.
so much fun. What an Oktoberfest celebration. This is great. Let's crack these beers open. Let's get started.
Do it. Let's do it.
Is there anything like any beer legends that you want to mention about the Sam Adams October? I know nothing about that beer.
Oh, well, yeah, I have a few facts that I can bring to the table. So first of all, like you picked a Marzen, and this is actually brewed as a Marzen. It's a Marzen style Oktoberfest beer. So the traditional Oktoberfest style.
I knew we would both choose Marzens.
You see?
Look at that. Oh my God.
Oh, look at that.
This is like classic Marzen color. Look
at this.
Can I see yours?
Look at that. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it.
They're identical. See, going back years to Beer Brackets of the Month, that series that we did, whenever we do this thing where we don't know what beers we're going to be choosing, it's a surprise, there's always a commonality between the beers that we choose. And look, our beers look identical.
Look at that.
Okay.
Cheers, my friend.
Aroma cheers.
Aroma cheers.
Oh.
Ooh. So this beer is brewed in the Marzen style.
Mm-hmm.
It's using traditional German hops. It's using Munich malt. And I will say here from the aroma,
oh my God,
you do get that very classic German hops. I will say though, like I'm surprised because I haven't had it in a while. I've had it before, but I remember it being way more malty. Like it's almost like mostly hoppy here on the aroma.
Do you think they did like a remaster of it like they did with the Boston Lager?
Maybe they did. I wasn't able to find anything specific, but it could be. And if anybody
Maybe they
knows
changed the recipe,
please let us know down below because for what I remember...
Because I remember that one being very malty too.
Yeah, this...
Very malty.
On the aroma at least. On the aroma, it's very hop forward in a nice way. It's very gentle and aromatic, but the malt is almost like the secondary element here. It's good. I like it, but maybe because I was expecting something, and I think like I'm gonna start with the 2 because it has like this nice balance, but I almost feel like all of the elements are a little toned down. Like there's not a lot of present. Like the hops are the predominant one, but it's very gentle and subtle, and that might be by design because it's a very drinkable beer, as you very well remember, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But I would almost like to have a little more of a punch.
I'm under a spell by this aroma. I just love this brewery so much. Everything they do is so clean. Everything they do just smells like there's 2 or 3 things, almost like there's 2 or 3 ingredients in every beer that they make that you can really sharply pinpoint that come off so fresh and so clearly. That I'm just going to use that word so much talking about this beer, just clean. Everything's really clearly identified when you're tasting these beers, when you're smelling them, and they're just so rich and flavorful. Even their pilsners, their lagers, just so delicious and bready and yeasty and malty and hoppy. And this one, their aromas, they knock them out of the park with their beers. You know what this smells like?
Let me hear it.
I'm getting like real like freshly baked bread, but there's a little bit of sweetness on the aroma, almost like a little bit of cinnamon. Ooh. Like I keep getting whiffs of what is almost like a cinnamon bun.
I was going to say a cinnamon bun, like a cinnamon roll or something like that.
I've compared beer to French toast before, but this is more just like an actual cinnamon bun where there's that mixture of sort of like the sweet icing on top and then also the cinnamon, but that rich, doughy breadiness too. It's unbelievable. This aroma is just, I'm like salivating like crazy right now. So buddy, let's take our sips and then you can give me another one of these Sam Adams Octoberfest facts before you rate your taste. Oh, geez, a score. Jeez, okay.
I wasn't sure if you said it and I didn't hear you, but I was like, wait a second.
3 on 3. It is a 3 on 3.
3 on 3, yay! Hey, cheers to that, my friend.
Yeah, okay. I can't wait to I've never tried this one. Let's go. Oh my God.
Okay. So that's where for the Sam Adams, I think that's the character I remember. And then I think
maybe it comes out on the taste.
Yeah, on the taste it's clear. Like I think it might have been the last few times I've had it was straight out of the bottle or the can. So that might have been like what shocked me a little bit on the aroma. But on the taste it's right there. You get that like rich. It's on the sweet side, but it's not overly sweet, but it's definitely on the sweet side, the sweet malty side. Like, so going a little bit on your example, we were talking about almost like a Hawaiian bread, if you can think about that, that taste that you get after you take a bite. You do get like a nice hop balance. It's very aromatic, but it's almost like at the very end, like almost translating into the finish. But mostly when you take a sip, you get that rich, sweet Hawaiian bread, which I think is what for a lot of people is the draw for this beer, because I've had like many people telling me this is their favorite Oktoberfest. And I can definitely see that because it has this very rich character. For me, I think it lands still at a 2 because the sweetness is almost like a little pushed on a little bit too much. I like Hawaiian bread, but it's not my first pick, if I had to say. Very well done, very delicious, but I think that's where I'm probably going to land.
I wasn't expecting like a 3 on the aroma from that one from you, but I was hoping the taste would score a little bit higher. That's a little, it's a bit disappointing. Sam Adams. You know what? I mean, I keep hearing about how like you said, this is one of the most popular probably Oktoberfest beers. Like people rave about the Oktoberfest beer. Like it's really well loved in the beer community.
And it's a purely personal interpretation of it. And I've always remember thinking with the Oktoberfest when I took a sip, like, I like it, but I find it very sweet. And I think now analyzing it, I think that's really the element that sets it a little bit apart also, in a sense, like for all the other Oktoberfests.
I'm trying to decide what I think about this.
I can see you meditating there.
Yeah. It's really nice. It's really drinkable. There is so much character on the aroma that unfortunately isn't there on the taste, which caught me off guard a little bit. So what is there on the taste? It's kind of similar to what you're describing where, well, actually, no, because you're saying it's really, really sweet, but this one is actually the opposite. It's really bitter.
Okay.
So it's very, very, very hoppy on the taste. So it's like kind of like a sharp bitterness, and the malt and those characteristics, like that cinnamon bun character that I mentioned, is kind of like a little bit in the background there, but it's very clean, very easy to drink. I was hoping for a little bit more of that malt to come through. So it's funny, we're actually having like the opposite problem here. So I think I'm going to go with one more sip, and then I'm going to give my official.
Take a reading, my friend. It's encouraged. It's Oktoberfest.
But there is a really interesting background character there where a little bit of like that sweet sort of spicy, cinnamony character is coming through. I'm going to go with the 2.5. Yeah, it's still very, very, very good.
Nice.
I'm really enjoying it, so I can't go any lower than that. But I could see, I would like a little bit more sort of like breadiness and maltiness coming through, especially for a Marzen. Marzens are known to be like a little bit sweeter, a little bit maltier, the profile of the style. Yep. And for this to just be more hop forward, I find it's just like nothing bad, but it could use a little bit more of that maltiness. All right, buddy, mouthfeel. Let's do a little bit of a refresher, beer bracket tradition.
Yeah, it's time.
Freshen up our beer so that we can take an accurate mouthfeel reading. There we go. Man, I just love this brewery. It is. I can't wait for the next time you come to Montreal.
It will be fun, my friend.
And I can take you here. We'll definitely film something there too. We'll definitely set up a camera and do a little tasting or something. Maybe get a little bit of a tour. I'll have to brush up on my French because they do not speak English over there. It's a very Quebecois one brewery. So
we'll have a beer first so that your French is fluent.
But you're so right. You're so right. It takes 1 or 2 beers to unlock my French, and then it flows. I think I'm speaking French, but in reality, I'm speaking some broken nonsense language, and in my mind, it's beautiful, fluent French.
It's called like beer language, and all the beer friends will understand you.
That's right. So, what do you think of the mouthfeel this Oktoberfest
the mouthfeel,
beer?
Very surprising. So far, this is probably my favorite element of it because, given how sweet it is, you would expect to have some sort of oiliness, stickiness, cloyingness. None of that. The carbonation is just like perfect. Like it cleanses your palate, prepares you to the next stage, which is all you can ask from a beer. So actually, for carbonation, I'm going to give it a 3, my friend, because I find it quite surprising that they managed to get that level of sharpness, and it's very well balanced.
One thing I love about Silo's beers is the mouthfeel. The body of these beers are perfect because, the head sort of died down pretty quickly, but it's not about the head. No matter how much time you take, if you take your time drinking your pint, but down to the last sip, they have somehow managed to create beers that keep the same level of carbonation and same sort of like activity within the beer the entire way through. And every one of their beers that I've tried so far have been in the same, in the sense when you take a sip, it's just this explosion of effervescence, like sharp effervescence that like coats your entire mouth wherever the beer touches. Down your throat, you feel it kind of like fizzy going down as well. It's very, very strongly, sharply fizzy. And it makes for such an interesting beer experience because it's such a good vehicle for the flavors. And every sip is refreshing. It doesn't get flat. I mean, I'm sure if I left it out for 3 hours, it would get flat. But I mean, if you're just like sipping on a pint on a regular pace like this, down to the last sip, it's just strongly fizzy, which I really appreciate. That's one thing I really, really love about this brewery. And I've tried maybe 6 of their beers up to now, and every one has had that characteristic. Just strong. It's like a hit to the back of your throat. It's like boom.
That's nice.
I'm sticking with a 3. Zero oiliness, just palate cleansing, beautiful. So far, this beer is doing pretty well for me, man. So, okay, as a finish, what do you think about the Oktoberfest?
Again, like very, very interesting. And I think this is also, the finish might be, in my opinion, one of the reasons why a lot of people really go back to this beer, because it leaves you in the distance with a goodbye that you will remember. and I'm talking about how they managed to tie all the elements back together. So you have a little bit of that like hoppiness. It just stays on your tongue after the palate has been cleansed by the carbonation. And then you get this very nice roasted character. It's subtle, but it's there.
Yeah.
So that classic, that's what I'm thinking when I'm thinking about a Marzen. That's what I envision. Like in the finish, that's where you get it. And a little bit of that sweetness that comes across and wraps everything. So it makes it more like a dessert, almost like to the finish. I think I'm going to go with the 2.5. And the only reason, again, is because I think that sweetness, and it's a purely personal preference. I'm sure for some people, that's exactly why they would give it a 3 or think that's amazing.
Yeah.
But that sweetness to me is just like, it's just something that it's almost done a little bit too much. I would rather have a little bit more of that roasted character.
I can totally picture what you mean when you say that. The finish is probably actually my least favorite part of this particular beer. There's just not too much interesting there. The hop character kind of dies down really quickly. So you're just left with like this little sort of residual bitterness. Almost zero malt character on the finish. It's very sort of quick, which is nice. So for a Marzen, it's very easy drinking. But it's very, very, very quick, very, very dry finish. So not much there to speak of. But what is there, like I mentioned, is just like this residual bitterness in a way that I'm not fully enjoying. So I'm going to go with a 2. So as an overall beer experience, buddy, for Sam Adams Octoberfest, what do you think?
After some deep beer meditation, and obviously it has here, at least where I live, like everybody has always spoken very highly about this beer even before I even tried it. And you had told me about it, and obviously it's been amazing to be able to experience it. And especially trying it in the review setting, because it always like shines a different light on it, like in different aspects of it. I think it's a fantastic beer. It's done incredibly well. There's some elements that I find like more enjoyable than others. I think it absolutely deserves a 2.5 because it's well done and it encapsulates like all the classic like elements of the Oktoberfest. It leans a little bit more towards the sweetness. So I'm giving it a 2.5 because just to kind of like show it's just my preference, but regardless of that, like if you just subtract that, everything else about the beer is done incredibly well.
I think I'm going to match you on that. This has been such an enjoyable beer experience from beginning to end. With the finish bringing it down a little bit with that 2, I think a 2.5 is really fair. Got 2 3s out of me, so it balances out. I think 2.5 is a good landing spot. It's this kind of beer that when you drink it, like any of the beers, like I mentioned from this brewery, there just oozes quality and it just tastes fresh. It tastes just vibrant and lively. If anybody watching ever has the chance to travel to Montreal, they don't export outside of the city as far as I know right now, let alone the rest of the province here. But if ever you're coming through Montreal, this is a great microbrewery to drop in. I know like when I'm traveling, I love to find different microbreweries to pop in on. It's a good way to get sort of like a gauge of the local community. But their beers are available in corner stores around here too. So if you see them, the white, plain, simplistic cans, that Silo on it. I'm like an ambassador for these guys. I love their beers. This isn't necessarily my favorite beer of theirs, but oh my God, it's a Marzen. They hit it out of the park. They definitely did. As a seasonal, great job. So calculating our final scores for Sam Adams Octoberfest, that comes out to a 4. Straight 4 on 5, which in our rating system is an excellent beer. And for myself, for the Silo Brewing Oktoberfest Marzen, that came out to a 4.33 on 5, which in our rating system is an outstanding beer. Yeah, this was so much fun, man. I love that we got to do this just because, being in different countries, like I said, I don't have the same access to Oktoberfest beer. So doing this double review is sort of like the perfect vehicle for us to feature these delicious Oktoberfest beers. Let us know down below, everybody, what are some of your go-to Oktoberfest beers for the season? It is the season, after all, the beautiful fall season, which is one of the best seasons for beers.
It is.
And come on, fall beers. Such a great time of year.
It is the best because it starts getting cold and you get more in the mood of being inside, and having a nice beer with your friends and family and just enjoy and watch the season pass.
That's right. Oh man, in front of your beer fire, you start breaking out the higher ABV beers.
Yes.
The darker beers. The stouts, the quads, the porters, start breaking those
It's coming.
out.
It's the anticipation, my friend. It's the anticipation.
Oh, and it's ales. It's definitely ale season as well.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Hey, do not forget to click that beer bell, everybody. We're talking to you. We're talking to everybody watching here. That little beer bell down there, what that does is YouTube is going to let you know when we're in the pub, hanging out in the pub, having a beer. So if you want to be notified once a week when we hang out in this pub, we get together in the Beer Brackets pub and share a beer together, click the beer bell. It'll let you know so you can pop in. Whatever you do,
don't forget to close your beer brackets. It's very, very, very important.
very important. Cheers, everybody. Happy Oktoberfest.